Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into a complete masterclass of the human mind today, moving from external influence right through to internal mastery. We're going to explore the hidden mechanics that drive human behavior. Everything from the psychological triggers that quietly shape our choices, all the way to the biological rules that completely govern our productivity. So, what if you actually had the superpower to read minds? Seriously, imagine if you could decode anyone's thoughts or silently guide their decisions. It sounds like science fiction, right? But today we're extracting the exact psychological frameworks from our sources to give you that exact edge. And no, these aren't magic tricks. They're scientifically grounded patterns of human behavior that you can literally start observing and using today. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Influence, the silent power. 2. How to read any mind. 3. Rewire brain for peak focus. And 4. Fixed versus growth mindset. Section 1. Influence, the silent power. Consider for a second how human nature basically pushes us to do exactly what we're told we cannot do. It's called the revenge trap. Our sources point out that telling someone, hey, don't look back, almost guarantees they will immediately look back. By tossing out a simple phrase like, I have this task, but honestly, you probably can't handle it, you completely bypass their logical resistance. You hit a much more powerful motivator, their ego. They'll suddenly want to prove you wrong, effectively doing exactly what you wanted them to do in the first place. Now, moving on, we see a concept marketers absolutely love using on us. It's called controlled freedom. Think about it. Instead of demanding a friend go out with you, which naturally invites a no, giving them a choice between two restaurants totally changes the game. Say, Pizza Hut or Domino's. It gives them the illusion of freedom. They feel like they're the ones making the decision while you've already ensured the outcome you actually wanted. You aren't forcing them, you're just framing the situation. And there are other incredibly potent tactics of silent control at play too. Whether it's politicians hijacking your emotions with fear to bypass your logic, or, and we've all been here, the terrifying power of silence. Think about when your mom used to just stare at you without yelling. That silence creates intense discomfort and guilt. The person who just listens and holds that silence, well, they hold the power. The other person usually scrambles to fill a void, often revealing truths or conceding points just to break that awful tension. Section 2. How to read any mind. All right, check this out. Our sources reveal a pretty shocking statistic. 90% of people use fake smiles in conversation. 90%. So how do you spot the rare 10% that are actually real? Well, a genuine smile lasts a bit longer, usually around 7 to 8 seconds. But the real tell is the eyes. A true smile will always shrink the eyes and create those little wrinkles at the corners. A fake smile? That only raises the cheeks. It lasts maybe 4 or 5 seconds and the eyes remain completely dead. Let's play a little something called the game of eyes. Next time you ask someone a question, really watch their gaze. Glancing up and to the left usually means someone is accessing a real, stored memory. They're searching their brain for the truth. However, looking up and to the right, that signals they're engaging their imagination. They are literally inventing a story on the spot. The thing is, the body constantly betrays the mind's secrets. You can read an entire room just by picking up on these tiny details. Who's pointing their feet towards the door? They subconsciously want to leave. Who's fast nodding while you speak? They aren't eagerly agreeing. They're actually trying to speed up the conversation so they can escape. And if someone pulls their lips inside their mouth while talking, it's a massive indicator of nervousness or that they're actively withholding information from you. So all of this leads to a crucial point, the ultimate truth test. First, ask your question. Second, just wait in complete silence. Seriously, don't say a word. Just observe how they reply. A fast, rushed reply or one filled with nervous stuttering usually means they're hiding something and just trying to fill that uncomfortable silence. A steady, normal pace, on the other hand, strongly signals the truth. Section 3. Rewire brain for peak focus. Now that we've talked about reading others, let's turn inward. Think of these 8 rules derived from our source material as the absolute ultimate operating system for your mind. Simple acts like getting enough sleep act as a literal reset button to clear out the chemical waste in your brain. Exercise isn't just for building muscles. It floods your brain with dopamine and serotonin, which sharply increases your focus. And single tasking, meaning resisting the urge to juggle 5 browser tabs at once, prevents you from completely burning out your cognitive energy by constantly context switching. And speaking of cognitive energy, let's talk about the number 90. Your brain operates on an ultradian rhythm. What that means is it can only maintain peak focus for about 90 to 120 minutes before it desperately needs a brief reset. Pushing past this mark without taking a break doesn't actually make you more productive. It just traps you in this low-energy, highly distracted zone where nothing really gets done. This brings us to a really fascinating point about motivation. Logic might be great for planning out your day, but as our sources highlight, and I love this quote, emotions are the invisible force that sets action on fire. Think about it. If you don't connect your tasks to a deep emotional reason, a core why that you actually feel in your gut, you're going to constantly struggle to find the motivation to execute even your most logical plans. Section 4. Fixed v. Growth mindset. Let's look at the ultimate contrast here. A fixed mindset believes your abilities are basically carved in stone at birth. Because of that, it sees failure as a permanent brand of stupidity. People with this mindset will avoid challenges at all costs just so they don't look bad. But a growth mindset, that views failure purely as data. It's the core belief that effort, and not just raw talent, is what actually drives mastery. Have you ever considered that telling a child they're a natural genius might actually ruin their potential? It's known as the praise trap. When you constantly praise intelligence, the person becomes absolutely terrified of ever looking foolish, trapping them in that fixed mindset we just talked about. But when you praise effort, hard work, and strategy, you build real resilience. You teach them that the process is what truly matters, not just where they happen to start out. Take legends like Michael Jordan, for example. He faced massive rejections. He was famously cut from his high school varsity basketball team. If he had a fixed mindset, that would have been the end of his story right there. But his growth mindset ensured those setbacks were merely stepping stones, not stop signs. He used that incredible failure as fuel for endless practice, proving to the entire world that true greatness is forged, not just magically granted. Section 5. Master your mind today. So, we've seen that while reading body language or framing choices gives you a great tactical edge out in the world, true unbreakable power comes from within. It comes from mastering your own brain's biological rules, managing your stress, taking the right breaks, and forcefully adopting a growth mindset that turns every single failure into a launchpad. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder today. Take a hard look at your biggest goals and ask yourself, is a lack of natural talent really stopping you, or is the fear of failure the only thing standing in your way? Your mind is your absolutely most powerful asset. Make sure you're the one programming it.